Cub fans, today we have a little bit more news on what the Chicago Cubs could be planning and what they could have planned for the future. And they could be trying to reel in a big fish, that fish being Edward Cabrera. We'll talk about it and then some right here on Chicago Cubs Central. Hey, welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. I'm your host, Mike Jones. Once again, thank you all so much for tuning in to this episode. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe so that you never miss any of the content right here on Chicago Cubs Central. Remember, this is your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs, a part of the Chi-Town Sports Central family. And also, if you are a repeat offender, meaning you watch this show all the time, first and foremost, I appreciate you. Make sure you hit that like button so that you make sure that it goes up on your algorithm as well, so that you don't miss anytime I drop new Cubs content. Now, we are in our winter season, so we're doing 3 episodes a week. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to this one. Let's talk business, right? Let's talk about our Chicago Cubs. So the Chicago Cubs right now are in a bit of a stalemate. It seems like the Chicago Cubs are just waiting and trying to figure out what the next move will be for them. Well, listen, we could have a little bit more clarity on that. I know you guys are just as tired as I am on waiting on the Chicago Cubs, which my next episode is kind of going to be more geared towards talking about the weight of the Chicago Cubs and what is going on with them. However, for right now, we're going to talk about one Edward Cabrera. That's right. Cabrera has quietly become one of baseball's most intriguing arms. And that's saying something given the premium on starting pitching today. So the key stats for Edward Cabrera. In 2025, Cabrera posted an 8-7 record with a 3.53 ERA and 150 strikeouts with a whip of 1.23 over 137 and 2/3 innings pitched. For his career, he's logged 431 and 2/3 innings with 478 strikeouts and a 4.07 ERA. So what's so special about Edward Cabrera, and why should the Chicago Cubs want him? Well, here he's 27 years old, under club control through 2028 arbitration, and not a free agent until 2029, which gives a long runway for team control and a very valuable for contending clubs. So this guy isn't just a back of the rotation arm anymore. Cabrera has actually shown he can be a quality middle to front rotation starter. And it's not just league stats. He has dominated individual outings for the last past 2 years. In July 2025, he shut down the Twins with over 7 scoreless innings, allowing just 2 hits and 1 walk. So you look at Edward Cabrera and you say to yourself, you know, this is a guy that we believe could be a front end starter for the Chicago Cubs. Now, is he going to surpass Cade Horton, or is he going to surpass Matthew Boyd? Probably not. But you can slide him into that third spot there, and he could have a field day in front of Jameson Taillon and Shota Imanaga, showing you that he is a very, very good pickup and a good piece for the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs themselves have quietly built a strong rotation, but depth and consistency remain concerns, especially if contenders like the Brewers or Dodgers keep upgrading, which we know what the Dodgers are doing. And like I said, the Brewers necessarily haven't made any big, huge pitching deals yet, but it could be in the forefront of their mind too. So the Chicago Cubs have, as of late, pitching like Matthew Boyd, Javier Assad, Aaron Savali. They have so many different pieces like that have pitched for them. It's been a carousel because guys have been injured. You had Shota Imanaga go down with injury. You had Jameson Taillon go down with injury. You had Justin Steele go down with injury. So all of these pieces going down with injury. So you look at this and you say to yourself, what do the Chicago Cubs need? Well, there's 2 things. 1, they need a durable arm. 2, they need an arm that's going to get strikeouts. And Edward Cabrera offers both of those. So his profile, he's a young starter with controllable years of upside. He could be the difference between a division title and a deep postseason run. So Cabrera was reportedly on the Orioles' radar, but Baltimore traded for Shane Boz, potentially clouding those talks. So meanwhile, Cabrera's price tag may be too high, may be high for Miami's perspective. There are teams that are still going to be after him, like the Chicago Cubs. So, what type of deal would it be or would it take for the Chicago Cubs to get somebody like Cabrera? Well, I've seen notes out there. I've seen people propose different deals for Edward Cabrera and what we could get, what we could potentially give for him. So, what if the Chicago Cubs offered Jordan Wicks and Ben Brown to Miami for Cabrera? Now, Jordan Wicks is the Cubs' left-handed pitcher. He's a first-round pick in 2021 with high pedigree. He has MLB numbers have been up and down. 2025 ERA rising above 5.2 with a 1.74 WHIP, but he's still young and under team control for quite some time. Then there's Ben Brown, Cubs right-hand pitcher, former Phillies pick acquired by the Cubs, projects to be a starter rotation arm. He's a 2025. His 2025 MLB ERA was 5.12 with 185 Ks. So he's still developing, and he's not a finished product. Ben Brown, obviously, guys, is a pet project. Both of these guys that you would be trading to Miami for Cabrera will be pet projects. You would probably more than likely have to give them a MLB ready piece also. Guys, this is not a top of the prospect package for Edward Cabrera, and I'm pretty sure that Miami could probably nab much better than just this. So in my eyes, when this trade was thrown out there, I'm immediately go, nah, Miami ain't going for that. You're going to have to sweeten that deal up. You're going to have to give them an MLB ready position player that you are looking to get rid of. That is the only way that a deal like this will work, where they would accept those two pitchers, because neither one of those pitchers have shown the consistency of Cabrera and able to give you exactly what they have. So, with that being said, these guys are not enough to make the trade with Cabrera happen, but you would probably have to add one of your prospects like Owen Casey to the deal if you were to trade for Cabrera. Miami would definitely want him in those trade pieces. So, looking at this and the potential of this happening, some of the analysts have said things like, you don't often see a team willing to part with a starter in his prime with years of control unless the return package significantly improves their long-term outlook. And that's why I say you're going to have to add somebody like Owen Casey or the Jaguar to a deal like this in order to make it worth Miami's time. And I mean, like I said, the Chicago Cubs do have those assets to get rid of. They are able to trade those assets. So what does this trade look like for the Cubs? For the Cubs, the pros of the trade, they add a front end rotation starter with controllable years. Cabrera's positive strikeout numbers and ERA suggest he can be a solid number 3 starter in a strong rotation. But the cons of this are giving up controllable arms like Wicks and Browns means fewer internal rotation options later. Miami may demand higher tier prospects like Owen Casey or like Kevin Alcantara. If Cabrera regresses, Cubs could be on the hook while losing depth. Again, this question boils down to one thing: does the immediate gain outweigh the future potential you're trading away? Now, I'm going to tell you guys, I don't know that I would be willing to trade Owen Casey for Edward Cabrera, but I'd definitely be willing to trade Kevin Alcantara for Edward Cabrera. I think that deal makes sense along with those other two pitchers. Nav Chicago, a very, very, very sweet top of the rotation type of guy, mid to top of the rotation type of guy, somebody that you can depend on that's going to come out and give you innings and throw strikeouts. And on top of that, a strong strikeout arm that is dependable. So, and this is what the Chicago Cubs need to get. They need to get some more swing and miss guys on the front end of that rotation. So this would definitely be a piece of that to add to the Chicago Cubs. So listen, trading Edward Cabrera could be transformative, but Wicks and Brown alone probably isn't the eye-catching package Miami seeks. Chicago will need to go bigger or pivot to another target if they are still in the market for a trade. We'll just have to see what happens with that, but we'll keep tracking every twist of this trade trail. Cub fans won't want to miss what happens next. Make sure you guys subscribe, drop your trade package ideas in the comments, and tell me, is Cabrera worth the price? And until next time, go Cubs, go. Peace.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the #1 spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.